And welcome back. Another video for this Scarlatti piano accordion restoration. So in this next video what I'm going to do is take the reeds out and I'll do the treble and bass sides, and I'll just show you the taking out the reeds, cleaning them, revalving them and rewaxing them. So that's the, I'm going to do all the reeds, treble and bass side. So hopefully what I can do is show you just how I do it, and yeah, that's it really. So once that's done, then you can look at some of the other jobs. We've got the palettes and the bellows and all different things to have a look at and check. So let's start with the reeds. So I'll just get myself set and change the camera angle just a little so you can see what I'm doing. And so yeah, just give me okay, so hopefully that's a nice little view of what's going on here. So I've got the treble side and I need to get the reed blocks out. So I'll turn it upside down, and what I'm going to do here, I'll just raise it up a tiny bit actually, there you go, is get a little pencil, or big pencil, get a pencil, and I'm just going to do a 1 and a 2. The same thing on the reed blocks, just helping with reorientating the reed blocks when you put them back in again, just as sort of extra insurance. Now on these accordions, it's just simply got these little screws which have gone like an L shape on them. So if you turn it clockwise, it's going to tighten further into the wood. Anti-clockwise is going to go out. So to undo them, so to get them out, the reed blocks out, always undo them anti-clockwise, otherwise you're just tightening up. So turn it anti-clockwise, just a quarter of a turn really, and then it should be possible to take the reed blocks out and let's have a look. There we go. And just looking in there, it all looks super clean. The palettes are really clean, really dry. So this is going to be a really nice one to work on. I'm already feeling confident. So there you go. So the reed blocks are out. I'll just put this treble side out of the way carefully. You have to be really careful when you put them on side, just to not getting somewhere where they get broken or trip up on them or something. So just keep it nice and safe. And so now if I just bring these down, just that down a little bit. Here we go. How about that? So the next step is to get the reeds out. Before we get the reeds out, there's a couple of things that I always do. So let's do that. Is I need to mark on the reeds which is the outside. So when I put the reeds back in, I put them in the same way up, and the reasoning for that is that the acoustics of the accordion will mean that the underside reed and the upper side reed might sound slightly different, and so that these reeds might have been tuned up. They would have been tuned up in this orientation, so when I put them back in again, I'm just going to put them back in the same one, just in case there was a slight kind of acoustic difference or tonal difference between the two. So all I'm going to do is get my little sharp metal scraper, and I'm just going to put a little diagonal across the corners of each reed. Okay, so I'll do that on all the reeds. I won't film it all, but okay. Now the next step is to work out which side of the reed block. So on these reed blocks, you've got the same notes, but on one side you've got the notes tuned to the pitch of the accordion, and the other ones are the tremolo tuned ones. So you need to work out which is which. So which is kind of the standard tuning, and which is the higher tuning, which is what you give it a tremolo. So because I'm going to clean these reeds anyway, I'm just going to give them a little blow and just work out which side is which. So okay, so now this side is the lower, so I'm just going to put an L there, put a H there. Let's do the same thing for these ones. Okay, so these are the higher ones. And these low ones. So that's really important, because when you take the reeds out, you don't want to get them muddled up, because you want to keep all the reeds on one side together and all the ones from the other, and they will look identical. And if you get them muddled up, you'll just have lots of extra hassles of tuning, and yeah, it won't go very well. Okay, so the next thing is to get these out. Right, now this is where the first thing I've got to do is get these nails out. So these nails, tiny little nails, they've put the wax in and the nails. And I just want to check out how we're going to get these nails out. So I think I'm just going to grab a little pair of pliers. Let's see. Sometimes it's possible just to turn the nail. There you go. I'm just going to turn the nails out of the way so they're not actually gripping the reed plate, and that will help me get those reed plates out. Now when I come to put the reeds back in, I won't put the nails back in because I don't need them, and it's kind of an insurance policy by the manufacturers, but if I wax them in properly, they won't need these little nails, and that just means if you ever need to do any further work on the accordion, you haven't got the hassle of trying to get these out as well. So it just, in the long run, it's better. Right, so now I've got those nails moved out of the way, I'm going to get my penknife. Now there's a couple of ways of doing this. You could poke something from the inside, but I never like doing that because I don't want to be pushing against the reed to get the reed plate out, because I think there's a danger there of damaging the reed, particularly on an older accordion as well. So I always go for a nice blade and then just carefully go in. There you go, there's two that came out at the same time, and just break the seal of the wax, and these reeds should come out quite nicely. So you've got to be careful not to dig into the wood, because then you'll have to kind of cope with a bit of wood damage as well. But if you just try and get it under the wax, you might just get a little bit of tear out, but generally speaking, if you're careful, you don't. But this wax is very hard, brittle, so it's obviously been in there for some time, so I would imagine this is just the all original setup. So this accordion has never been not worked on. Right, so I've got all these reeds out. Those little pins or nails, I'm just going to get my little pliers, pull those out. Become a bit of a pain. And of all the jobs in accordion fixing, this right one, what here is the messiest by quite a long way. So what tends to happen is you get old wax flying around, and the older the wax, the more it flies. So you have to be careful with your cups of tea. So sometimes put it right out of the way because it goes flying everywhere, and really it's not nice to get old wax in your tea. It doesn't taste very nice. Okay, so those have all come out. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to put those reeds to one side. I'm just going to get my blade and scrape away, just carefully. You don't want to dig into this wood, but because this is quite old wax, it's quite brittle, so it's coming off quite well. You'll see the wax flying everywhere, but not in my cup of tea, I hope. Now the idea here is to get all of the wax off and leave yourself with nice, clean, smooth wood without any damage or without any extra wax or any glue or anything else. So I'm going to start off with the blade because that's quick and it gets the majority of it off. And then once we've got the blade, these get covered in wax. Urgh. Once you've done the blade stuff, then you can start going in with the sandpaper. So I'm going to get some sandpaper now. So what I'm going to use, I've got this 180 grit. That should do nicely. Just cut that into a few little strips. So you need to have a good supply of different grades of sandpaper for this. So 180 is quite nice, not too rough, and it will just allow you to have it quite long, so you can kind of sweep. And this is where you can really start to get this cleaned up. So the cleaner the better, obviously. This is quite satisfying, really, because it will look a lot better. Once you get all this out, there's still some wax down here in the channels. One thing that's not a great idea to do is, once you start sanding it, is to blow all the stuff off, because you're just going to end up with wax in your eyes and in your mouth and everywhere. So I just get an old makeup brush that I no longer need, and I've never needed a makeup brush. I don't even know why I've got a makeup brush, but that's perfect for getting out all the bits and bobs. And sometimes also I just get my blade and just any extra little bits just go around inside. Now there we are, so that's looking an awful lot better now. So that's going to be pretty much clean. I've got a tiny bit more scraping in there, I think, but pretty much there. And so when it comes to the putting the reeds back in, you've got nice clean surfaces to put the reed blocks on. So it's all starting afresh. So that's good. Right, so now it comes to the reeds. You can see it's a little mess. So there we go. Now with these reeds, I'm just going to take off the old valves. These are not going to be reused because they're much too old and decrepit. I don't really ever reuse valves at all, but these are just all, and you can see that they're not held on at all. There's no glue left. It's all dried up, so you can just very easily pull the valves off. Falling off really. So yeah, these are well overdue change. So get all the valves off, and then I'm going to get as much wax off them as possible with my blade, and then I'm going to put them into some hot water in my Ultrasonic, and that will just God, there's thinking wax goes everywhere. That will finish off the job. Ugh. So I'm just going to try and get all the glue which was holding on the valve, try and get that off as well, and just do as much as you can before you put it in the cleaner, so that the cleaner has less to do. So what I'll do, I'll clean off all these and then I'll come back and show you the cleaner, put them in the Ultrasonic. So let me just get all these cleaned up. Right, so I've done the best I can just by scraping off you know, wax and glue and things, but now the next step is to put them into the Ultrasonic, which is here. So I've got some nice hot water in there, and I put a few drops of fairy liquid, which is a washing up detergent. Give that a little stir. And these are going to need a good old bath, as if we've got 70 years of dirt and grime and everything on them, so these are going to get, you know, probably a good 20 minutes having a nice bath, and I'll show you what they look like once I've turned it on. Might help if I turn it on, plug it in, always a good thing. I'll show you what they look like in 20 minutes. Okay, so see. Alrighty, let's have a look in this Ultrasonic cleaner and see what we've got. So the water, I don't know if you can see that, but the water is looking pretty murky. So that's had a good 20-25 minutes in there. So what I'm going to do now is get the reeds out, just put them down. Let's move that across a little bit. Put them down on the towel here, and I'm going to give them a good old dry off with my hair dryer, and then get a soft cloth and just give them a final little polish up. So let's just get them all carefully out. Let's give them a little dry. Let's put that back in there. Let's get. Right, so what I'm going to do now is just put these out. If I just get a little blade, another thing I can do is I can just have a quick little listen just by pinging the. Oh, and you can just hear just a nice, quite clear little ringing sound. And I often find that after putting them in the Ultrasonic, you get that clean sound, which is there's no dirt or dust or wax, and you get quite a nice pure little sound. So that's really nice. So I think these are gonna sound really nice. So let's just put them out. This is what they now look like. Whee! Come here. So the next thing, I'm just going to get a very soft little cloth and just give them a little kind of wipe. But there we go, they're looking nice. So I'll just give them a little wipe, and then I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Okay, so the next job, after got the first set, these were the lower tuned of the two sets. So I'm going to put those down here, and just as a kind of aide-memoire, I'll put them in 2 rows. The ones at the lower are the lower pitch ones, and the ones that here are the higher pitch ones. They're just little things that help you remember what's what. So what I'm going to do now is take out these slightly higher tuned ones, exactly the same thing, clean the reed block, clean the reeds, and I'll put them out here, and then I'll get all the valves ready to revalve them, and then after that we'll be waxing them in. So I'll show you the next step once I've got all these ones out nice and clean, just like what these ones were. Okay, so I've now got the lower set and the higher set, and the next job is an important one. It's actually looking at the height of the tip of the reed. So as a little rule of thumb, the end of the reed should be proud of the reed plate, and it should be proud of the reed plate by the same thickness of the metal of that reed, as a rule of thumb. And for example, this one here, I can see that it's quite a bit more than that, so it's got quite a big gap between the tip of the reed and the reed plate, particularly on this side. So if I've got a bigger gap than I need, I'm going to get a little pusher like this, just a little metal rod, and I'm going to just aim it about halfway down the reed, or just maybe a third actually, and you've just got to bend that metal downwards a little bit. So you've got to go right in the middle of the reed itself, and you've got to actually bend it so that it will deform very slightly. And so what you need to do is just do that carefully until you're happy with the position. That one's pretty good. That one needs to come down a bit more. It's getting better. So that's what I would do with a reed that's too high above the reed plate. And if you've got one that's too low, so it's kind of flush with the reed plate, then obviously that's got to come up a little bit. And so if you want one to come up, I don't think I've got any that are too low. This one's a little bit too low, so you need to get a fine blade underneath the tip and go just maybe nearly halfway up, and then carefully just ease that up. Now be very, very careful, because there's a big danger of actually snapping the reed, so you've just got to feel it really. There we go. So the next little job is simply to go around all the reeds and just see if I can get the tip height just as I want it, you know, just about the same thickness as a height as the thickness of the metal of the reed itself. So I'm just going to do that, and then I'll show you the next bit. Okay, now the next step is to now put the valves next to each reed that I need. So I start off with my smallest valves, which are number 1 in my little tray, and basically I just get a few of those out and I have a look how far along I can get until these are too small. So if I go up to about here, that's still going to be fine, and that's about the last one that's going to actually be a good fit. So I'm going to put those out, pair them up for those 4 reeds. And then because these are the same size, I'm just going to pair those up as well. And then I'm just going to go to the next size of reed valve. There's 2 more needed for that one. 2. And then I'm going to go to the next size, number 2. Get a few of those out. Find out how far I can get with these ones. So what's the, that's too small. Nope. So I've only got, oh, I've only got one for that size. So do that one. And that one. And then I'm going to go to my third size of reed valves. See how far we can get with these. So I can get up to there. And then I'll do the same ones for these ones. So this is making sure I've got the right size valves for the reeds I'm working on. So that's going to be there. Those are those ones. Put those back in there, and then the final set. I've actually jumped to number 5 for these last two. So let's put these out for the last two. Hopefully they're the right size. Oh no! Hang on, let's try that one instead. No! So number 5, you're going to cut the mustard, so I'm going to have to go for number 6. Haven't got a lot of number 6 left. Ooh. Let's see what we can do. I think I've got to order a few more of these. There we go. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so that's all my valves laid out. I just put these ones back into here. And the next step is to get the glue and start gluing on the valves. So let me put all these back in. And I'll get some glue ready. So I'll just stop that for a second while I just. And the next step then is to get my Bochem glue. It's a shoe glue. Ooh, it's tight. And I'm going to just put a little bit of glue onto each valve, and I'm just going to try and put just a square of glue, so I'm putting the same width as the length of glue as the width of glue, so a little square at the end of each valve. That's it really, so I won't film this bit. I'm just going to glue all the valves on and then I'll show you how I trim them. So let's just take the first one here. So the valve is a couple of mil past the end of the slot, so what I'm going to do is just carefully with my Swiss Army knife lift up the valve, look where the slot is, trim it, and then because I've trimmed off a couple of mil from the valve, I'm just going to trim a couple of mil off the supporting second layer, like so, making sure it doesn't drop into my tea. And so do exactly the same thing on the reverse. So line it up, snip it, and then just a little bit on the supporting part. So that's it really. Some of the valves are going to be the right length, most of them are not, so it's just a careful job. All the valves trimmed just past the edge of the slot, and anything I've trimmed off the valve I will trim off the same distance of the supporting second layer. So I'm just going to crack on with that and I'll show you when I've done it. And what I'm also going to do is, whilst that's going, whilst I'm doing that, I'm going to get the wax heated up, because the wax takes quite a while to get up to temperature. So I just get that plugged in. My leg wax heater, so I'm not going to be doing any leg waxing today, so that's absolutely fine to be using this for my accordion wax. So I'm going to get that heated up to temperature, trim all the valves, and then when I've got them all trimmed and the temperature's up on the wax, I'll then just do a quick little demo of the waxing in of the reeds. Okay, see you in a bit. Now then, I'm ready to start waxing in the reeds. So I've got the wax nicely molten. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with the lower pitch set of reeds. So I make sure I've got the right side of the reed block. I've also just gone along and double checked they're in pitch order. So I'd rather check it now than check it in when actually waxed in the wrong order. So that's good. And now I'm going to wax them in. So I've got the wax heated and I've got a couple of nice brushes. So you have to have quite good quality brushes. And I've got a very fine one, and that's for going in between the reed plates. And I've just got a general one. So good quality brushes, look after them. The cheap ones don't really work. So there's my brushes ready. I'm going to cover up the higher tune set of reeds. I'm not going to move them because they're in order and they can stay there, but I'm just going to get a cloth, cover those over, just in case I get any wax flicking about. I don't want it to get it onto those reeds. I've got an old t-shirt just to wipe the brushes on every now and again. I've got my special wax stirrer. There we are. You have to buy that as it's a accordion wax stirring rod, they call this one, which is very important. Yep, I need to get one of those. And now I'm going to start. So I always go right to left, left to right, because I'm right-handed. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start with that reed and put it in there. So I'm kind of reversing that order. It's just the way I work. So yeah, but you can do it whichever way you like. So I've also put some electrical tape on the top there, and that just makes a massive difference, because any drops and spillages will just not be on the wood, and it saves a lot of cleaning up at the end, and it just looks nice and neat. So here we go. So I've got that's my set of reeds, got my wax heated up. So I'm going to start with this very smallest one here. So just going to check the wax is the right temperature. It's pretty much at maximum on this heater. That's generally right. So just give the brush a little spin around. Just going to shape the brush just a little. That's fine. And so I'm going to get my first reed in. So I'm just going to put a very thin layer just around that reed chamber, and that will just help me just to seat it and put it in place. I'm going to look for the little crossed line that I put on, so I know that's the upper side. Try to get it exactly over the centre of the reed chamber. So now I'm going to get my brush, I'm going to carefully run it round. Now if the wax is the right temperature, what will happen as you get the brush on, it will run, the wax will run. So as I'm tipping the reed block, I'm getting the wax to run downhill, so I'm kind of getting it to do some work for me. So I'm just going to put it all the way around. There we go. There we are, it's just running nicely, and then across the top there. Now that's all in, so now I'm going to get the next reed in, so I'm going to put a very, very light coating around the chamber just to allow me to hold that reed in place. Again, look for the diagonal line that I scratched earlier, seat it in place, a little bit of wax, and I'll kind of go and redo a little bit of the reed before, so I'm going to make it a continuous line. Actually, I'm just going to carry on that one there just a tiny bit. Go right there. Again, the wax should run, so you can kind of get it to do some work for you. Like so, and across the top, like that. And the last little bit is in between the two reed plates, which we need to get the fine brush, and so I'm just going to get that one prepared. And see, I have to have quite a steady hand and just carefully get that right down. Between. Like so. So I've got my first two reeds in place, and now what I'm going to do is make sure I do the same process all the way along. And obviously when you get a blank where you've got no hole, because these are the accidentals, make sure you don't put the reed in there, because obviously that's not where it should go. So when you've got the kind of, you haven't got actually a hole for the sound to come through. So I'm going to go along that line now and wax all of those in, and I'll show you what it looks like when all those are waxed in. Okie doke. So this is the completed reed block. There you go, it's all looking nice and tidy. This is just for comparison, this is that's the one before. So now you've got the before and after, so you can see on this one all the reeds have got valves that are flat and nicely waxed in, and these have got the curly happy ones. So I'm going to get cracking now and do this one as well. So I'll have two reed blocks ready to go. So I'm going to keep cracking on. Oh, cookie. I've now finished doing the treble side reeds, and if I just hang on it a bit like that. So both of the reed blocks have now finished, so they're now ready for playing. So that's the first one. That's obviously the accentals, the black notes, and then got the white notes. So that's all looking all ready to go. So I'm pleased with that. So that's good. So that's a big step, because the reeds are one of the things that take a long time, and you can't really rush it. You have to take your time and do it properly. So that should be fine, and they can go back in and be tuned. So I think I'll stop this video now here, and then the next one I'll do the bass ones. So the bass reeds are here, and doing the bass reeds is a bit different to the treble reeds. You need bigger valves, and also the order of the reeds isn't sequential, so you can't just go from low pitch to high pitch when you put them back in again. So you have to have some way of actually marking them so that you make sure you put them back in the right order, because if I just put these back in pitch order, they'd be in the wrong places. So I'll show you how I do that. Yeah, so I think what I'll do the next video on the bass side reeds. So there's a few little more things to think about. So we'll do that. One of the reeds has come out already, but that's fine. And there's also a little bit of damage to the clamping bit that you can clamp it to, so I might have to do a bit of woodwork on there. Yeah, so I think I'll finish this little video just where we are then. So the treble sides have done, and then next one go on to the bass side. So I hope that's useful, and